All right, we are live. Welcome, everybody, to the Sunny Days Media Football Show. We are in the divisional round. We had 2 games yesterday. We've got 2 more games today. Pulling up my score app. Um,
Did
so
you
let's
tweet
get
the?
into it.
Wait, you tweeted out, Matt?
I tweeted out the link. Yes, I did,
Ah,
from YouTube.
excellent.
I did not post it on Instagram. So yesterday, first game we had Texans Chiefs, and obviously the second game we had Washington and Detroit. Today we've got the Rams traveling to Philly and the Ravens in Buffalo. Let's unpack what we saw yesterday. We'll start with Commanders Lions because that's what's fresh on my mind.
Naturally.
It sucks. There's no pretty way of putting it. There's a lot of blame. There's a lot of blame to go around. It was an ugly game from a Lions standpoint. From a Commander standpoint, they were very efficient. They didn't turn the ball over once. Jaden Daniels looked fantastic. This is the reason why this guy is going to win the Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Should have been, like we had said all year long, should have been in the MVP discussion. Obviously was not going to win it, but should have been in it, deserved to be in it. Where to kind of start with this game? You could talk about injuries from Detroit's side, leading the league in IR, but they've been dealing with that all throughout December. Really, kind of since before Thanksgiving. You can't chalk it all up to injuries. Do I wish the defense played better? Yeah, but I don't think the anticipation was expecting the defense to hold this this Washington team to under 30, right? You knew Washington was going to come in and go for it on fourth down just like we do. That's what they did all year. You knew Washington was going to come in and sling the ball, and they ran it a lot better than I thought they were. I didn't think they'd be able to run. I mean, I knew the Lions had a lot of injuries, obviously on the D line, so I knew they'd have some success running the ball. I didn't know Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson would get 10 yards a clip whenever they wanted. But I think who I'm really most upset about today as a Lions fan, I'm upset with 2 people. Jared Goff played an ugly game, but Jahmyr Gibbs kept us in that game. I think who I'm most upset about today is Ben Johnson. You're the guy that every team wants, that every team's interviewing. You're the highest paid coordinator in the NFL. You led this Lions team to, the best offensive year we've ever seen. Helped produce the best regular season we've ever seen from this Lions team. And then you come out in the playoffs, and that was always a criticism of Ben Johnson, right? That he got too cute. There's a lot of times where, and for the people out there that don't watch the Lions every Sunday or don't know a whole lot about them and want to blame Dan Campbell, Dan, I guess at the end of the day, he's the head coach. But Dan gives the offense to Ben Johnson. That's his responsibility. He calls the plays, right? And a lot of times Ben got too cute, and it's funny when you're playing the Jaguars. It's funny when you're playing the Titans and you're running these passes, these double reverse passes. You're down by 10 points in the fourth quarter. You can't let Jamison Williams throw the ball. I mean, that's asinine. And that, to me, that was the dagger in the game. Because had Detroit gone down the field, scored a touchdown, or even kicked another field goal, they're in it. They're within one score. Right there were Jaden Daniels pick, a Brian Robinson fumble away from winning the game. But when you allow a guy whose job it is to not throw the ball to a running back, no less. I mean, I emotionally last night, I'm sitting there going, I'd fire him right now. Now I know we don't have that emotion.
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson. I mean. How do you do this? That's like driving from Orlando, Florida to Boston, Massachusetts, and the minute you get on the Jersey Turnpike, pull over and let your 10-year-old drive. Why would you do that? Why in the world would you do that? So I don't really know where I am on Ben right now, and I'm gonna let it kind of simmer for the weekend. Like I said, I can't be mad at Aaron Glenn the guy did what he could with what he had. We were playing special teams guys at linebacker and all over the secondary. There was one starting cornerback left. There was one corner left, period, that we started the season with. Everyone else was out. There's only so much I could really say about Glenn. He could have coached up a better game, I guess. But Ben Johnson sunk the ship. Like, I mean, it wasn't pretty, but you had a chance to win a really ugly game, and you could have regrouped and kind of found yourself and figured things out for next week. But you didn't have that chance because Ben Johnson let Jamison Williams throw the ball. You pay a quarterback $50 million a year. He had a bad game. I get it. Even if you wanted to leave Teddy Bridgewater in at that point because Teddy came in and they scored a touchdown. So if you wanted to do that, I don't support it, but fine. But don't let a wide receiver throw the ball. And why is Hendon Hooker on this roster? Hendon Hooker's here. Teddy comes in December, and he's now the backup. That's another weird thing. But I'll let you guys kind of take over from what you saw.
Now, let me ask you this, though. Do you think, I mean, I don't know if this is just stupid speak or whatever, but do you think maybe, in a way, Ben Johnson might have been trying to preserve his job with the Lions? It's a ridiculous thought, but is there any truth to maybe that statement? If you think about it, like you said, like he lost you the game, maybe that was just him showing teams like, hey, look, I suck. I'm thinking I'm going to have to stick around in Detroit for a little bit before I become a head coach.
That's silly because all you got to do is say
it's
no.
It's insanely silly. I don't know why I thought about it, but I just figured I'd throw it out.
I think it's just Ben getting cute. Ben thinks he knows the league inside and out, and he does. And he's a hotshot young coordinator, and he's done a fantastic job. But the decision making with everything on the line to pull that stunt. I mean, I almost feel like Ben was coordinating this game as if we were up 10 points the whole time. Like that's kind of how he was calling it. And we weren't. You know, we were playing from behind pretty much from the first quarter on.
I think
I didn't see it coming at all. It was a complete blindside. I was, I don't have to tell you, but it's wild that happened. We were due for an upset, and I guess this was the one.
I think that I blame Glenn. You never blitz when your team sucks. Like, when your team's decent, you need a little bit of an advantage. In this NFL, you can blitz, but the way that the Cliff Kingsbury's and Jaden Daniels is hot, you can't blitz like that. You need to play way less man coverage when you don't have the players. And Washington is the king of the dump-off. Mm-hmm. I would rather let Terry McLaurin at 32 years old beat me for 150 yards and 2 touchdowns than let Austin Eckler get the ball in space, let Zach Ertz eat you over the middle of the field. You got to buzz, and you got to have cover, too, across the board. You got to have 5 guys within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage to beat the Commanders, and I didn't see enough of it. And I just am shocked that they didn't play as conservative as possible on defense. I thought they were getting beaten, which is you have to hold them to field goals. There was when you try to get cute and on the other side of the ball, now you're letting teams score touchdowns. And Ben Johnson, I thought you cannot let Jamison Williams touch the ball. Obviously, you're telling Jamison Williams to throw that ball out of bounds. If he has to, but you also can't trust him. Like you give that ball, Amon-Ra, you could throw that pass. I don't trust Jamison Williams to not throw an interception.
Yeah, and
I think that was a big problem. Other than that, there was some super creative play calls at the goal line. I saw. I think every week he surprises me.
Yeah, that all that stuff is good, but I have to question you and your leadership when you pull a stunt like that down 10 points in the fourth.
They thought they had the right they thought that they were going to catch the Commanders in some sort of cover 2 or a man coverage where nobody was going to cover the guy on the outside. Whatever. It happened. Jared Goff, I don't know. I would just move on from him.
Jared Goff.
Just trade him. I would just trade him.
I had this thought go through my head today too, like almost start to question, is he really the guy? But like here's the issue, is Jared Goff the best quarterback in the NFL? He's not. Is he ever going to win an MVP? He might. But if he didn't this year, you probably won't see it. Here's the problem with moving on from Jared Goff. No matter how you feel about him, whether you like him or you hate him, there's not a lot of good quarterback play in the NFL. There's not a lot of good quarterback play in college, right? I mean, think about it. We went every year from talking about 4, 5, 6 different guys that'll go top 10, top 15 in the draft. This year, we're talking about maybe 2 guys that the whole country is kind of split on. Like, you've got people that look at Shador and Cam Ward and say they're a late first-round pick, if that. And then you've got some people that say they're a bona fide top 5 pick. So, and either one may be right, may be wrong. That's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to say is that you want to move on from Jared, great, but what do you do? Like, what do you do? The Lions are set up really well to a point where they're going to have double-digit wins every year for a while. I mean,
Matt, they're the best running team, they're the best running team that you can possibly.
So you're
assemble.
not going to be in a position to get one of those.
But your quarterbacks,
guys.
if you brought in a decent
It's
quarterback,
the Steelers paradox.
You work off play action. The Jared Goff's life has been easy. They play in a dome. Mm-hmm. He, the biggest knock on Jared Goff back when we were scouting him in college, they left the field, and one of the scouts was like, you know what? I want to see you throw a wet ball. So they just sprayed water on a ball, and Jared Goff wasn't the same quarterback. And that's why I was like, I wouldn't draft Jared Goff in, number 1 overall. However, the Rams play in a dome. They drafted him. The rest is history, and he hasn't ever had to deal with that. Now, the Lions are the number 1 seed. They play in a dome. They had 1 game outside this year. It didn't rain. So my thing
No. That's not. They had more than 1 game outside. They played.
They had, 2 or 3? They didn't have many.
They didn't have many, and
I thought it was 1.
He played in the freezing rain in Green Bay and put up like 30 points. So
shocking. But you're also look, at the end of the day, I don't trust that guy anymore to win. The Rams got rid of him, and they won. The Lions have now built a team that if you're going to bring a quarterback into any scheme, any offensive line, any tight end, running back room, Amon-Ra, you have incredibly high IQ players in that team. If you had a guy that, was like more of a, let's build something with a good team around him, this is the time to do it instead of rolling with your Alex Smith. The Chiefs could have rolled with Alex Smith and made a few championship games and been that team. The Lions have to say, are we a flash in the pan, or are we going to go build
The Chiefs were able to make that decision because Pat Mahomes was sitting behind Alex Smith. And Pat Mahomes is obviously Pat Mahomes. Is Hendon Hooker Pat Mahomes?
No.
Probably not, right? And once again, like, you want to move on from Jared. That's a ton of dead money to eat. And what are you doing? You're going to use you still. I mean, every team, I don't care who you're talking about, whether you're talking about Detroit, Jacksonville, Kansas City, doesn't matter, Baltimore, every team's got holes. So going into this offseason, you're going to use what, the 25th, 27th pick on a quarterback that nobody knows? Like,
what about
you're going to trade up to get Jackson Dart? You think?
What about maybe Joe Milton? Go get a guy with a fucking cannon that can run around and see it. Because look, the one thing about Hendon Hooker, obviously, whatever they did, they made him inactive, which
and
I thought was stupid.
I think very highly of him.
I like
Hendon
Hendon Hooker.
Talk bad about him.
I know people don't. People were, will dance on his grave because he was inactive and Bridgewater started. So that's the end of Hendon Hooker. He'll never be anything. Look, it's preseason, and you can't really take much. You can't really take much from it outside of, can the guy escape the pocket? Can he move? Can he make throws and look like a quarterback? Jared Goff can't do the rollout and run if something's there and go get a first down. That is part of a guy like Joe Milton's game. And, if you want to go get a guy with a strong arm and say, you know what, we're going to give you an opportunity to go have the best possible offense around you and see how you do in the preseason. See if it's worth it, just worth it to maybe, if Jared Goff isn't playing too well next year with a new coordinator, to go put a guy in there with all the traits in the world around all this talent. Because Mahomes had all the traits in the world. Mahomes averaged like 420 yards a game at Texas Tech. So it wasn't like Mahomes didn't have talent. You know, he had all the stuff that Alex Smith was limited in outside of the intellect. And with all those players around him, all of a sudden you start processing and you start understanding the game a lot faster.
My counter to you is like, if last year the Lions don't go for it on 4th and 3, or if Josh Reynolds just catches that ball on 4th and whatever, and the Lions go to the Super Bowl, like, are we having this conversation? It's a lot of what's happened here. I mean, did Jared have a bad game? He absolutely did. Did the defense also give up 45 points? They did. Did Ben Johnson call a terrible game in the second half? He did. So, like, I'm in this world of, I get what you're saying. I don't think Jared's perfect, but I also don't think, I think he gives us the best chance to win right now. Unless, I mean, listen, maybe Jared breaks his arm week 2 next year. Hendon Hooker comes in and lights it up and never looks back. So be it. But I just, like, you've got Amon-Ra extended, young player. Jahmyr Gibbs, young player. All the best players on this team are 25 years old and under. And I think to be playing chess here with dead cap, you're kind of screwing yourself. You really are. I mean, it's like if the Lions don't lose 22 guys to IR this year, we're probably not even having this conversation. Jared Goff probably plays an ugly game. The Lions win, and then we're looking at who wins today, Rams or Eagles. So at the end of the day, too, like, it's football. Guys are gonna get hurt. What am I gonna do? I guess if I could criticize anyone else, am I gonna criticize Brad Holmes for not being more active at the trade deadline? Maybe, but at the end of the day, like, the guys here needed to do their job, and they had a chance to win. As bad as Jared Goff played, they had a chance to win. You know, ace pitchers come out in the World Series sometimes and blow it. And they blow a game, and that doesn't mean you got to move on from that guy. They just, as a coach, you need to recognize if your guys, if who has it today and who doesn't. Okay? And Ben Johnson could have leaned on Jahmyr Gibbs a heck of a lot more. If I was Ben Johnson yesterday, I would have ran the ball to Jahmyr Gibbs 35 times. I would have fed him the rock and slowed down the game and kept Jaden Daniels. I would have treated Jaden Daniels the way you treat Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen. I would have wanted him on the sideline as long as possible, getting cold. And they didn't do that. The Lions just kept taking, going into the half, you're taking a deep shot at the end zone. What are you doing? You've got time. You've got 35 seconds left and a timeout, and you're taking a shot at the end zone? And yeah, it was a bad throw, but what are you thinking?
It's a bad.
You've got
look,
time
Matt,
to kill.
Those plays work, and if you throw a bad pass, it's the quarterback's fault. There's other guys running
absolutely,
routes.
Absolutely.
Look, Ben Johnson's saying, I'm giving you an opportunity to throw a touchdown if it's over. But don't throw it.
Recognize that your quarterback doesn't have it. Slow the game down. If we're talking about a team that doesn't have running backs, I'm going to agree with you. You've got Jahmyr Gibbs back there. Use him.
And David Montgomery.
You've got David Montgomery, who powered through an injury to come back. Use these guys. That's the shit I don't get. That's what killed me. Like, if Ben Johnson did not coordinate this game the way he did, the Lions probably win yesterday. If he took a more basic approach to this game, you've got the best line in front of you. You could have lined up you could have had Dan Skipper out there every single fucking play in a jumbo set, and you could have ran the ball down their throat, and you would have won that game. And he just kept putting Jared out there. Just keep throwing down the field. I know you got 4 picks. I know you got 4 picks already, but we're going to keep throwing the ball down the field. What are we doing? Jared, like it or not, Jared's our ace. Jared's the ace of the rotation. That's what it is. You've got to ride with that guy. If that guy doesn't have it, find another fucking way to win. In baseball, what do we tell managers? Steal bases, play small ball, go to your bullpen early. It's the same thing in football. You've got the best line in front of you. You've got extra O-linemen that could be starters on 20 other teams in this league. Come out in a jumbo, run the ball, slow the game down, dump it off to your all-pro tight end, Sam Laporta, who didn't get the ball at all this year. What are we doing? What are we doing? It's nonsense. You're pushing the ball down the field when you didn't have to. And that was the killer yesterday. Jared didn't have it. But I'm not going to act like I'm going to ignore Jared's 70% completion percentage. and almost 40 touchdowns to 10 turnovers. Like, I'm not going to ignore everything he did this year. When we needed Jared this year, he came through. He had a bad game. And it sucks. When was his last bad game? The Texans
10
in week
weeks ago?
11?
Yeah.
Like, I can't. I'm upset with Jared Goff, and if Jared plays better, we win this game. But if the coach wearing the headset, making more than every other coach in his position, does his job, we also win the game. You know? So I'm at the end of the day, I'm most disappointed. Is it snowing already? Fuck.
Really? Oh shit.
Yeah, it's starting to snow. This is not good. I'm most upset with Ben Johnson, and I don't know where I stand on him today. So, but
he's definitely going to get a job. So the big thing now for the Lions is, where do you go? Who's your coordinator for next year? You bring in like Deshae Townsend. Is that
no,
who you think?
They have their tight end coach. Same thing they did with Ben Johnson with Anthony Lynn. They've had their tight end assistant OC, basically shadowing Ben Johnson all year.
Okay,
So that's
it.
going to be the guy that takes over. And I imagine on defense, it seems like we're going to lose Aaron Glenn to the Jets. Kelvin Shepard, I believe, is going to step up.
The Jets are so stupid, huh?
I think Glenn's a good coach.
Yeah.
I think Glenn's a really
Stays
good
in the
coach.
Jets' mantra of being defensive minded, which you got to think was going to be the case.
I also think Aaron Glenn's going to get fired from the Jets in like 3 years anyway.
Yeah.
Because
Probably.
there's no stability. There's the front office is non-existent. The ownership is a disaster. So
Yeah.
but
It's a shame, but whatever. I mean, look, I don't think Aaron Glenn's a great defensive coordinator.
no.
I think he's
I
decent.
think he's a great coach. I don't think he's a great coordinator.
Yeah.
So, and I agree with you, Pacino. I would have. I mean, me and my buddy Paul were talking all week about this game, and I think what we had just kept saying was we'd like to see them line up in a cover 3, cover 2 the entire time, play bend but don't break, let them get all the way down to the 20, and then stop them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what the Lions were able to do for a lot of December.
Every rookie quarterback sucks against cover 2. Like, very rarely is a rookie going to eat you up in cover 2. That is like cover 3 in garbage time, when you have a little time and you could eat people up.
And
that,
you've got and
get it.
you've got an All-Pro and a Pro Bowler at safety, and Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
Like, those guys are playing center field. They could eat for you, and you're like you're. I mean, I like the idea of bringing them down to the line and having them blitz the quarterback. And listen, Brian Branch missed like 2 sacks last night. He gets home. We're talking about something different here, but
You're not
I agree
sacking
with you.
Jaden Daniels easily. You don't bring 4. You don't. If you bring 5 and you don't sack him, that's how you allow a rookie to beat you. If you bring 4 and you contain, now you got to make him go beat you with his arm, which that's an option because he's really, really good.
Yeah.
But you have to take that risk. It is what it
And
is.
I also don't want to ignore the Commanders here. Like, hats off to them. They walked into an impossible environment with a rookie quarterback, and they won. And they beat the shit out of the Lions. I mean, that's what I'm going to call it. They beat the shit out of us and got Jared Goff to turn the ball over 4 times, Jameson Williams once. Dan Quinn had those guys ready. And, man, if you're a fan of the Rams or the Eagles and you're watching that game, good fucking luck. Good luck, because Jaden Daniels is on a fucking warpath to the Super Bowl. And I'm not just saying that because he beat us. I mean, it's gonna come out that way. But, man, did that guy look fucking impressive yesterday. That
Yeah,
entire
he had a
team
great
looked
game.
impressive.
Great game.
Yeah. So hats off to him. And also Ben Johnson. The Commanders are a bottom 5 run defense in the league. Like, just another reason to give it to your stud of a running back in Jahmyr Gibbs. So is what it is, and I guess guys from the Lions will be playing down in Orlando in 2 weeks, and that sucks. Really sucks.
Yeah, fucking flag football, dude. It's an embarrassment. Yeah, my condolences, man. I will say this: you are handling it very graciously and rationally. You're
Didn't
not.
put a hole in the wall, so that's good.
Yeah,
I did
proud
that
of you.
last year.
Proud of you. Call that maturity.
Last year, you deserved to put a hole in the wall. This was it was a different game.
Yeah. And honestly, I'll be honest with all you guys. If I didn't have a baby due in like 2 weeks, I don't know. This baby's coming any day now. Like, if I didn't have a kid coming in the next week, I would have handled this so much worse.
Yeah,
but
for what it's worth, fucking postpone the parade. It works out in your favor. You don't got to worry about fucking juggling shit, and like now they win next year, you get to go to the parade, maybe.
Next, look, they don't need anything on offense, so go. I would draft.
They don't need
or
anything on
I
defense
would
either. Maybe
say
just a
they
couple
do,
glasses
though.
of milk.
They need an edge rusher. They need. Hopefully, McNeil gets back. They need another guy in the
that's
secondary
the problem.
because
McNeil tore his
need,
ACL in December,
Yeah.
so you're probably not seeing him till at the earliest Thanksgiving. I mean, that's
So
like
if I'm the
basically-
Lions, I'm saying fuck this, and I'm getting Myles Garrett as soon as the league calendar starts. As soon as the new league year starts, I am offering whatever they want because your window is now. You've made your bed, just like many teams. Myles Garrett with Aiden Hutchinson and that offense, you will hold leads all day. I think that would be a great addition to this team, and it's AFC to NFC. It's doable. It's going to cost you 2 firsts and a second probably, but you know what? You've built your team.
I mean,
what
at that
what else
point-
do you want?
At that point, I think you call the Raiders and you continue to pursue Max Crosby because he's 4 years younger. Crosby's definitely cheaper. But if we're talking about talent here, the Lions have plenty of cap space. Like, make that call. There's going to be some holes to fill. Kevin Zeitler, their starting right guard, played at a Pro Bowl level this year. He was on a 1-year deal. I imagine they'll be able to bring him back. He seemed to really like playing in Detroit. And he's been around winning organizations, right? Played in Baltimore for a while. I want to say he's with the Giants in Cleveland. I think he was part of that OBJ trade. I think he was the guard that was traded. So, yeah, as long as Jared, as long as any quarterback's here, like, you got to have a sturdy line. But I think Jared really relies on having time. And this whole offense relies on things developing downfield. So reload and come back next year strong. And it sucks. Like, it sucks. And listen, I was on Instagram popping champagne last week. So all the jokes I got yesterday in the group chats, I guess I deserve it. It is what it is. It's funny that it's coming from Jets and Giants fans, but it is what it is. And
I saw today. Would you rather have the Lions season or the Jets season this year? What? You fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like you'd rather have seen what the Jets put out there and to get the 7th overall pick, which is basically no man's land in this draft. I can't wait for the draft. Matt, you're gonna love the draft. Now that it's draft season, especially if Lamar loses. I mean, I might as well watch the Senior Bowl instead of the championship games at that point. So
Well,
that's
we will
all
be
we
watching
had.
the Senior Bowl.
Stop.
We've got the most views in here that we've ever had for a stream before. So just as we transition into, I guess if we'll get into the other game from yesterday as well, quick, and then we'll get into today's games. We are going to be doing a stream for the NFL draft. This will be the 3rd year in a row that we've been doing it. First year was a Twitter space. Last year was a stream. I think this year we're going to change it up a little bit, have me and Facino on the couch here down in the den with a camera, and that should be interesting. So we'll see the availability.
Also, that being said, like and subscribe to the Sunny Days Media YouTube channel.
Yep.
Turn on alerts, do all that good stuff. Not to sound like a vlogger, but we can definitely use it and
the
appreciate it.
subscribers.
Yep.
All right.
So what do we got today?
Well, do you want it at all? Do you have anything for Texans Chiefs?
The refs?
They had him in the first half, dude. If it wasn't for missed field goals and everything, I thought the Texans played that first half to a T exactly how they had to do. If you look at I want to say it was the first quarter. It was four total possessions, 2 apiece, and they were trading blows back and forth, kicking field goals, and they punted on one because they gave up too many sacks, or whatever, a bad sack in field goal territory. But I thought they were playing that as they need to play that. They were keeping Mahomes, like you said before, they were keeping Mahomes off the field, letting him get cold. It wasn't warm in Kansas City. And then the Chiefs did the Chiefs thing. Flags started to fly, and that was that.
Some credit to Houston here. I mean, similar to what Washington had to deal with. They had to walk into an impossible environment. The Texans had a really, really ugly regular season.
Yes.
I think they were a 12-win team. They were a 10-win team. I think if they weren't in the AFC South, they would not even have been a playoff team. But credit to the Texans for somewhat being respectable in the playoffs. And winning a playoff game, beating a team in the Chargers that nobody thought, they'd be able to beat. So, it's something to build upon. D'Amico Ryans, I think D'Amico Ryans a really good head coach. I think they had a bad year. I think C.J. Stroud had a bad year, and that was a major part of
Sophomore
it.
slump.
But I anticipate the Texans being a heck of a lot better next year. We've got Rams Eagles. You guys want to get into that, and then we'll finish it all off with Ravens Bills.
Yeah. Cold game, snow game. So I like the under here. I think it's going to be a big time pound the rock game.
Under 43 and a half?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm buying it up to 48, just me personally, for a
Okay.
little bit of insurance.
Yeah, I like that.
But I think this is going to be a snowy, shitty, crappy game. I don't think the Eagles are going to throw the ball. I think Stafford's going to let it fly. That's just me. And I'm kind of hoping for that because I have a ticket in for Stafford, Lamar, and Josh for 6 combined total passing touchdowns throughout the day. So I think that I like the sound of that. We'll see what happens there. But I don't know. I mean, as we saw last night, dude, anything can happen here. Anything can happen. Do not rule it out just because they're big dick swinging. It doesn't matter. Any given Sunday, it just matters who comes up, who shows up. Jalen Hurts might have a bad game. Maybe there's a couple bad turnovers. Saquon, who knows?
If
You
the
never
Rams
know.
can find any way to slow down Saquon, they're going to win this game.
And the one thing the Rams do have going for them is they have a pretty awesome defensive line. So if they can hold, but they're going against the Eagles' probably second best offensive line. But if they can hold that front and not let him get through into open field, I think, like you said, they're going to be in good shape.
Yeah. I don't like what I've seen out of Jalen Hurts this year. I
Nope.
know he's been hurt. It doesn't help him that he's been battling these concussions. But I just think, as Saquon goes, the Eagles go, and I think that's basically their entire team. That's their entire offense. We're already hearing rumors that AJ Brown's out after, whenever this Eagles run is over. AJ Brown's going to be on his way to New England in some sort of a trade. So a guy like that's probably counting his days. And the Rams, as ugly as that secondary's looked, that D-line is ferocious. That D-line's really good. Jared Verse is a fucking dog. He's going to develop into one of the better pass rushers. I mean, he already is, but he's going to develop into, I think, in the close to the Aiden Hutchinson tier. I think he's that good. I think Jared Verse is awesome. I liked what I saw out of him last week. And a 6.5 line is, I mean, like yesterday's line, it's a good size for the playoffs. I kind of like the Rams here, and I think I'm going to take the Rams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the Rams money line. What are they at? They're on plus 270.
Currently plus 270.
Yeah,
I like the Rams too. I think that the Rams have really, they know how to run the football. They have a great scheme, and they use Puka Nacua better than. I think Puka Nacua is. I'd rather have him than almost any receiver. I mean, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and then give me Puka Nacua. He can act as a tight end. He run blocks. He lead blocks for Kyron Williams, and he does a damn good job. Picking up linebackers in the hole. So that is going to probably take the little bit of the Philly crowd out of it, which I think is needed, obviously. And if you can run the ball, for at least 3/4 of the game, then you should be able to win this game. I don't think that the Eagles are as good as people think. And, you're right. Kobe Turner, Jared Verse, these guys are young. They're fresh. And they're a lot better up front than people thought they were. And they were a lot better than they were in the beginning of the year. So if the Eagles have a little bit of a hard time running the football, the Rams could capitalize and just keep the crowd out of it the whole time. If not, I mean, look, this game could go either way, so it's really hard to even pick a winner. But I would just go Rams because take the underdog.
I'm in the minority here. I know underdogs are hot right now, especially after last night, but I like the Eagles here. We talked about home field advantage and how you got to go into these tough places, and lately they've been showing up. Texans showed up. The Commanders obviously showed up. You can say all you want. You can wax poetic about Arrowhead and all that stuff. Nothing comes close to the link. If you ask me, if I had to choose, probably the number one home field advantage crowd, especially in the playoffs, especially in a home game, it's going to be Lincoln Financial Field. Those guys are that crowd is going to be absolutely rabid. They're going to be saying stuff that should never be repeated, stuff that should be outlawed, stuff that should probably be arrested for, and they're just not going to care. They're going to go buck wild in that crowd, and I think that's going to be all the energy that the Eagles need. I think the Eagles are a team full of head cases, head coach included, but that they have a mass amount of talent no matter where you look at it. Like I said before, their offensive line is unbelievable. Saquon's having the year of probably his career. You have very talented receivers who are underutilized, whether that's at the shortcomings of the quarterback or just the play schemes or what, I don't know. But there's no denying A.J. Brown's talent. There's no denying Devontae Smith's talent. All these guys, they're absolute players, and I think when they need to show up, they're going to show up. Now, on the other side of the ball, though, like you said, don't count out the Rams. The Rams are a good team. They're riding with the underdog momentum. They've been coming in like they went 1-5, then they haven't lost a game since or something like that. So I think it should be a good game. Like I said, I think it's going to be kind of a dirty, grimy, shitty game because of the snow and whatnot. But I don't know. I'm leaning the Eagles here. I like the Eagles -2.5, and I'm taking the under at 48.5.
Yeah, I think.
right.
I mean, both these head coaches have been here before, right? Sirianni's been to a Super Bowl and lost.
Yep.
McVay's been to two Super Bowls.
Two Super Bowls,
He's
1-1.
McVay is one of the best coaches in the NFL. And like I said, I'm interested to see what the game plan is here in defending Saquon because it's that simple. It is. It's not going to be a physically easy job, but I think mentally for that LA defense, it's a very simple job. Stop number 26. If you could do that, you beat him. Because Jalen Hurts right now, whether it's just his play or something's up, with him physically, and all the injuries he's had this year, Jalen Hurts is not a non-factor, but he's probably the worst quarterback left here in the playoffs. He's the guy that scares me the least. And listen, maybe he comes out and throws 4 fucking touchdowns today against the Rams, and I got egg on my face, but I just don't see it.
Too pretty to be a good quarterback.
Are we good to move on to Baltimore, Buffalo?
Yeah.
Speaking of really, really tough places to play, this is a place. There's a couple places actually I'd counter to you here, Jerry, with playing with home field advantage. I think Buffalo's one of them. That's a crazy fan base. That's a fan base that's going to be ready to go. 6 o'clock, 6:30 is the kickoff for that game. It's going to be freezing cold.
Yep.
Baltimore, I think, is unfazed by that. Baltimore is the type of team that'll play in a parking lot.
Two
They don't give a
cold
shit.
weather teams. Two cold weather teams.
Yeah, I think all that doesn't matter. But those Buffalo fans are loud too. And this is two guys that if either one of them wins the MVP, nobody should be upset. You've got 2 MVP caliber quarterbacks playing against each other today. I think Buffalo's defense is definitely better than Baltimore. I think Baltimore's had a very up and down defense. They had I think they had a decent December. But I trust Buffalo's defense more here. You could tell me you trust Lamar more than Allen. I think that'd be fine. But I think I trust the Bills' offense a little more than I trust the Ravens. And I know that that's crazy. With Derrick Henry on the other side. But James Cook is no slouch.
I was just about to say, there's a counter right there. And you made that argument, I think it was last week, where you compared apples to oranges. And yeah, they're 2 different fruits in different senses. But at the end of the day, you're still getting your daily servings of fruits in. It's they're going to serve the same purpose.
James Cook is a guy that could get 5 yards a carry, 6 yards a carry against this Baltimore defense, I think, without a doubt. I think it's going to be I like that it's a pick 'em, and I think if you're Buffalo here, I think you have the gambling line right up on the whiteboard before that game. And you tell your team, Vegas thinks Baltimore's better than you. They think they're so much better than you that we're home dogs today in the divisional round. So if there's any kind of bulletin board material, I think you got to lean into that. And what do you say here, Facino?
There was a reason. A few years ago, the Bills lost a game to the Bengals, and the Bengals basically just rode Joe Mixon to a victory. And then we sat back and we said, the Bills, they need like a real bell cow that can wear down opponents and win these games. God forbid, it's not as easy to throw the ball. Now it's not going to snow, and that's beneficial to the Bills. The Ravens noticed that, and they said, we're going to go get Derrick Henry because last year we didn't run the ball nearly enough to beat the Chiefs. And if we're going to beat the Chiefs and we're going to beat the Bills, we need a player like Derrick Henry. We need to give that guy the ball 25 times, and we need to try to win the game on the ground because the last thing you want to do is allow a team like the Chiefs to have the ball as long as they did last year against the Ravens. They basically didn't have the ball, Baltimore, most of the game. So what the Bills are set up to run the ball with James Cook and be a slashing rushing attack, and that approach is fine. But when it's 20 degrees and you're playing a game that's hopefully close, if it's a blowout, it's a blowout. It doesn't matter. But if you're playing a close game and you said who's gonna win a close game today, I'm taking Derrick Henry. And that's my opinion.
It's not a crazy opinion.
That's
not.
I think. Look, Tom Brady, Corey Dillon, 235 pounds. LeGarrette Blount, 240 pounds. Who was he winning Super Bowls with? Antoine Smith, 235 pounds. You're winning games with dudes. You're not winning. You're not really winning games as much with James Cook. Can you? Yeah, absolutely. But I can tackle James Cook, if I'm a linebacker, I could tackle James Cook a few times a game. I'm not going to get beat up by that. But if I got to tackle Derrick Henry 15 times and I just repaired my bicep, I don't know how easy that's going to be for Milano. I don't know how easy that's going to be for Taron Johnson.
Can I give you a counter to that? My counter is that James Cook is 26, 25 years old.
I don't think that matters.
I think it does
A little bit.
It might matter. It might matter because they've been riding Derrick Henry all year. There's a lot of miles on those tires, and if there is anyone that has defied age, it is Derrick Henry, right? It is Derrick Henry, a guy that is a running back on his third contract in the NFL. Like, we don't see that anymore. That's a very rare thing, and he's playing at a level that we saw him play at in Tennessee years ago. I mean, there's been no drop-off from him. There was a drop-off in Tennessee as Tennessee got worse, but the minute you put him on a good offense, all of a sudden he's MVP Derrick Henry again. I mean, he got never won an MVP, but, this is a guy that probably could have gotten 2,000 yards this year, just like Saquon. I think they just kind of had him on a snap count because they realized, he's not a spring chicken. He's not a 22-year-old anymore, right?
But
he's had a lot of years in this league. So
there's a lot that goes into the science of staying where you are. Derrick Henry he doesn't eat. He has the best possible diet that you could ever have, really. He's putting premium gas in a Maserati for, the last 10 years. You could be a 25, 26-year-old James Cook. You could be a 30-year-old Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry might last longer in the league at this current age than James Cook does. Because Derrick Henry, he keeps his body in premier shape. I think the guy plays another 3-4 years at a high level.
In case you were wondering, I do the exact same thing.
Yeah, I mean that's why we're able to do this podcast.
I have seen
every
your
Sunday.
Snapchat stories. You do not do the same thing. I see what you make at the firehouse, brother.
I think it's very important too. I think for years, and I've always been a big running back guy. And I always see value in running backs. This year was a really good year for running backs, and I think it is important for the running backs, especially if Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley can win this weekend. It would be a very, very important milestone in the running back, market, and especially in the draft.
I think we've just seen a shift back into the importance of the running back role. Period, young or old. And I know that's
people are they're mistaking importance for life. What's it called? For durability. The importance of the running back. It's a very important position, but it may not be important long term, but it doesn't mean it's not important.
I also think I hate the argument that I hear because I hear this all the time, especially from like relatively casual NFL fans that watch like the typical Jet fans that watch the Jets lose and then they turn off the TV, right? And that's fine. Like that's what you do. That's cool. That's not what we do here. Like I can't stand every year hearing the argument, "Oh, I'll just draft a guy in the 6th round that does it." Like really? Where's that 6th round running back? Like okay, I'll give you this. Every year there's an undrafted or 5th, 6th, 7th round running back that shows up and lights things up for a few weeks. I mean, that happens, right? But most of those guys are a flash in the pan. Philip Lindsay being one of them. This was a guy that like everybody was talking about for basically one season. And then he got cut before that contract was even over. So to sit here and tell me that you'll find a Derrick Henry or a Jahmyr Gibbs or a Saquon Barkley in the 6th round, you're fucking delusional. You're delusional. That's like me saying, "Oh, I'll just find a Tom Brady in the 6th because the Patriots did it 25 years ago, so I could do it too." No, it doesn't work like that. You want premium talent? You got to get it at a premium. And I do really like how we're seeing this shift of importance back to the running back role and how, I mean, look at the best offenses in the league. Baltimore, Detroit, Buffalo, Philly, the Rams. All of these teams were still alive in this round. All of those teams may not have the best running back in the NFL, but they've got great running games. They've got fantastic running games, and they've got the quarterback, and you need the quarterback, right? The quarterback is the most important position in all of sports. We know that. This guy touches the ball 50% of the time. We get it. But you need that blanket behind him that's going to help set up the pass game, because if you can't set up your pass game, I don't care. You got Joe Montana back there. Like Tom Brady, for as great as he was, always had a fantastic run game to predicate the offense off of. I mean, you just brought up Corey Dillon. Don't forget James White. James White saved them in that Super Bowl against the Falcons, right? And I mean, that wasn't a bigger bruising back, and he ended up not doing anything after New England. But the point is he was there, and he's probably the reason they won that game.
Yeah.
I want to say something really quick. I don't know if it's really been said. First of all, very happy birthday to my good friend and loyal listener, Will Hickey. Shout out you.
Oh, happy birthday, Will.
Happy
Hopefully
birthday.
the Ravens win one for you.
This is a big day.
Please.
Now, that being said, please mute your TV for the next 10 seconds. I'm picking the Buffalo Bills to win this game. I don't want to go against the family. I love Lamar. I know he's, a close personal cousin of yours, and you know me. I'm always down with the sickness, and I hope whoever wins this game wins the Super Bowl. Now the Lions are out.
Yeah.
That being said, I like you said, they're home dogs here. I got them at plus 100. Kept it simple. No same game parlay. Just straight up emptied the clip at Buffalo to win this game. I think it's going to be a dogfight. I think regardless of what happens from here on in, this is going to be the best game of the playoffs. At least that's the standard I'm holding it to. Last night, honestly, might give it a run for its money. We'll see what happens. But I don't know, man. I think Buffalo smells blood in the water, and I think they know. And the same goes for Lamar that I'm saying here. I think they know that Mahomes and the Chiefs are human, and they could be beat. Mm-hmm. And they know that if they get him in the right sense, they can get it done. And this is a year.
Not to be so, I guess, self-centered to a degree here, but I also think they're kind of looking over at the NFC thinking well, the big bad wolf is gone. Every one of those teams is very beatable. We just have to, if we get through this gauntlet, we're winning the Super Bowl.
Someone said it best in my group chat yesterday, the Super Bowl goes through the AFC. That's it.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Not to discount anybody, not to write off the Eagles or the Rams or even the Commanders, I don't know. But I think that whoever wins this game, I think has the best chance of being crowned Super Bowl champion come February 9th. We'll see what happens. I agree with that. I bet the Bills. I hope both teams have fun. I'm rooting for a good football game, not necessarily a shootout, a good football game. And that's what I think we're going to get delivered tonight. I'm very excited.
Yeah. I could never. I'll root for the Chiefs if the Bills win.
No fucking chance, dude.
Oh, yeah. Every day, twice on Sunday. I hope the Bills never win a Super Bowl. I hope I die and the Bills have 0 Super Bowl wins. That's just who I am. I mean, I'm sure that
Well, you're also
Matt,
a Jet fan.
I'm sure you think exactly.
I don't ever
I'm
want to
sure
see
you
the
don't
Packers
you don't
or
want to
the
fucking
Vikings
see
win.
the fucking Vikings ever win.
No,
I hope they lose
no.
every time. I hope they make it
Yeah.
and lose, and it's a heartbreak. I hope it's like
I
a
absolutely get
flag,
that.
and it was like a rigged, and the refs, and I want them to talk about the refs for the next fucking 10 years. That's what I want. Is it going to happen? Who knows? The Bills could win the Super Bowl. I hope they lose to the Ravens. And then if they win, I hope the Chiefs win. And if they win that, I hope it's a heartbreaker in the Super Bowl. I hope it's wide left and then wide right. I hope it like fucking boomerangs both ways. That's just kind of how I feel. So, yeah, go Ravens, man. Please. We've seen so many amazing. Oh, Josh Allen's the best postseason quarterback ever. He's better than everybody. Well, you got to win a Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson's the worst postseason quarterback. He sucks. It's at the next thing. Well, you know what? Maybe he has a good game today.
Maybe.
If
Maybe.
you could,
Might.
I think the
only thing is
Lamar
you could change your
Lamar
narrative
sucks
of the
train
win.
has gotten. I think this is not a knock on either one of you, but I think it's everybody who's like a big Lamar fan. That's like the Lamar sucks train is like I don't really know how many people are on that, and I think it gets brought up more by the Lamar lovers than the Lamar haters. Like, and listen, every team, like every great player, every great team is going to have their haters. Like the amount of people that had tweets ready to go for when the Lions lost yesterday as double-digit favorites, like that's just what it is. When you're that good of a team, when you're that good of a player, there's going to be people that hate you for
Heavy lies
smiling.
the crowd.
And that's what it is, man. So like I think this idea that like that Lamar is treated differently than Josh Allen, I don't think so, man. I think they're both looked at pretty much by everyone as MVP caliber players, as probably the two best quarterbacks in football. And I think I think most fans are looking at both of these teams like the winner of this game is winning the Super Bowl, unless the refs have something to say about it in Arrowhead next week. Like that's what it is. That's really what it is. I mean, you know, the trying to tell me that Lamar is not good, or you know, has he had questionable playoff games? He absolutely has, and you're ignorant if you're not going to admit that. But at the same rate, like Lamar's receivers today, catch the fucking ball, because that's been the bugaboo of the Ravens in the playoffs for the past 5-6 years that Lamar's been here. His all of his receivers magically forget that they have hands. And I think they cover it in butter before the game. Like, I don't know what else to say. I mean, I remember that game against the Titans like 4 years ago where nobody could catch a fucking pass.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm quick to criticize anybody, but like, what are you going to say about Lamar there? So I think everyone in the NFL is giving both of these teams plenty of respect. And like I said, the winner of this game, I think we'll see them playing a game in February, a very important game.
Yep. Hands down. And all I ask is that whoever wins this game, despite where my money may lie today, goes into Arrowhead and beats the fucking pants off the Kansas City Chiefs. Just do it. This is the year. The Russian is cut. The Russian is human. They can be chopped down to the knees. They're finally coming alive. Don't let it happen. This is the year both teams get. Has Lamar faced Mahomes in the playoffs yet? I don't think he's ever gotten that far. I know.
Yes,
Allen.
he faced them last year.
Did he?
Yeah, and look,
No.
and if the Ravens lose, I think obviously the Commanders beat the Lions. It sucks, but I do think that the Commanders are going to be America's team for the remainder of this playoff run. So
I strongly I
look.
disagree with that. I think I forgot who I was saying it about, but they're a young team. They got to go through the ups and downs and get the trials and tribulations down. I think America's team belongs to the Bills if they win. Or even the Ravens.
the
I think a
Lions
lot
win,
of
absolutely.
Skins fans have not seen anything since the 80s. People are tired of the Bills, man. People are tired of the Bills. You get there, you get there, and it's like enough.
If the Bills lose, I think if the Bills lose today or next week, I think people were kind of tired of them going into the year, and I think the love was revitalized again, seeing them have such a great season.
People were starting to get tired of the Lions, man. That's what I saw at least. It's like the Lions never
the
won.
minute the Vikings were good
You
again,
know.
it was all about the Vikings.
So yeah, I think that the Commanders are fresh. They got the young rookie quarterback. They got a young GM, turned it around in a season. Great story, and one that the NFL certainly would love to run with.
I don't know who Donkey Kong is here, but
he loves Facino. He was talking about Vecino when he was going off on the Bills.
Good.
NFC North champs. I guess that's a shot at Detroit. We won the North. I don't know what to say.
Don't know Donkey Kong. Go
Yeah.
Ravens. It's fitting that it's Will's birthday too, so please do it. Take care of business.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I want the best for my friend. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm just rooting for a good football game. Jerry could use a win. His account has been cleaned out. He hasn't won a bet since the playoffs started. But we'll see. Real quick, before we wrap, what do we got for tomorrow night? Anybody want to throw something on there? I think Ohio State beats the brakes.
Oh, fuck, that's
yeah,
right.
That's tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I mean, we know what's his face. Ryan Day is going to be looking for what's the old guy? What the fuck is his name?
Lou Holtz?
Lou Holtz. Where's Lou Holtz? Lou Holtz is going to walk his old ass on that field if Notre Dame wins the game. I'll tell you that much. So
Well, you got look in that game. Obviously, since we're all out of it, you got interior offensive line play for the Ohio State. That could be you definitely look out for left guard and center, Ratledge and what's his name and Donovan Jackson, and then Xavier Watts is a very good safety. So if you need a guy that could tackle and cover in space. Maybe not for the Lions, but the Jets certainly need one. Zero on Notre Dame is definitely a quality player. So some players I'll look out for. As far as the outcome, I could care less. I guess Notre Dame is a team that hasn't won recently, so it'd be nice to see them win, especially because they're definitely have to be the underdogs, right? So
I like this one. God doesn't play favorites, but his mother does. Notre Dame by 10. I mean, as fun the NFL is. The NFL is obviously right. It's professional. It's the premier, of American football in the world, and but like there is no shit talk better than college football shit talk, and there is like
Oh, dude, they're unbelievable.
the college football fan bases are they're basically they're like these EPL teams.
Yep.
And some of what you see in Europe. So
It makes me sad I don't have a team. I want nothing more than to have an undying loyalty to a college, and I just don't. I went to a small school in New England. It doesn't work.
It
We don't have it up
feel
here.
the same. I became a Texas fan.
yeah,
Doesn't feel the same as rooting for the Lions on Sunday. And it didn't help me this year that I was renovating my house, so I couldn't really watch any. I could take off one day a week, and it's going to be on Sundays to watch the Lions, right? But yeah, I mean, pick a team. See something that honestly, the way I picked Texas is I watched the 30 for 30 on the
Texas
2005.
Oh, the Trojan horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Good one. Oh, I mean,
That's how I picked
I was
Texas.
going through off the beaten path here, but I was going through the 30 for 30 catalog because they're all on Netflix now. Dude, all of them, unbelievable. I've
Yeah.
seen them all. They're all unbelievable.
Fantastic Lies, I think, is the best.
Which
That's
one's
the
that?
best. That's the Duke lacrosse team,
yeah, that was
hands down the
incredible.
best.
I like the basketball ones. I'll be honest. Like this magic moment on Shaq and
wanna
fucking
watch
Penny
that. I didn't see
Hardaway. That's a good one. The Bad Boys is good. Winning Time with fucking Reggie Miller and the Knicks is good. They're all, again, all good. Can't go wrong.
All right. So we will see you all next week, some version of Saturday or Sunday. Hopefully, baby Pask comes out
Yeah.
of my wife. That would be great. If we can get that
Are there
this week.
games? What's the schedule for next week? There's one Saturday, one Sunday. Or are they both on Sunday?
No, both on
Sunday.
Sunday, 3
Both
and
on
6:30. I believe the
Okay.
NFC is going to have the 6 o'clock, 6:30 slot, and the AFC is going to have the early slot.
Okay.
So maybe same time next Sunday. Be perfect.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we will see you all next week.
Thanks, guys.
Happy birthday, Will. Go Ravens. But
Please.
also go Bills.